I'm going to Montana just to throw the hula hand. They feed in the coulees, they water in the draw. Their tails are all matted, their backs are all raw. Right around, little doggies, right around.
The Adventures of Cowboy Jessie and Cowboy Earl by H.R. Hunsaker. Tonight's episode, The Medicine Man.
Jessie and Star rode up to the corral to find Earl doubled over and holding his gut. Jessie dismounted his horse and walked over to Earl. "What's wrong with you, Earl?" he asked with concern. Earl stood up. "Jess, I got a terrible case of consumption." Jessie thought for a moment. "You ain't got consumption. Consumption's what they used to call tuberculosis." No, Jess," said Earl in anguish. "I got that other kind, the kind that tears up your guts." Jessie knew that Earl was in pain, so he wasn't going to argue semantics with him. But if it made him feel better to call it some old term he heard in a Western movie, then consumption it was. "What you need, Earl," said Jessie with sincerity, "is chicory. It'll clear up that consumption right away." Earl broke out in a hard sweat and was drenched within moments. "I don't know nothing about any chicory, Jessie. We got to get up to the Coushatta reservation. There's a medicine man up there I got to see." Jessie shot down that idea and told Earl, "Don't be unreasonable, Earl. I'm going to ride up to the mansion and get the widow." Earl bowed up the best he could. "You ain't going to tell the widow nothing, Jess." "But why, Earl?" asked Jessie with confusion. Earl reached out and grabbed Jessie by the collar. He pulled him close, and with a scowl on his face, he replied to Jessie. "Jessie," said Earl before he made a dramatic pause for effect, "because the widow's cowboys don't get sick. Getting sick is for weaklings." Jessie knew that Earl was too full of pride to listen to him, so he conceded. "Okay, Earl, I'll go get the Volvo out of the barn, and we'll drive up to the Coushatta." Earl shot back. "We ain't taking the Volvo, Jess. Tago needs me. We'll ride up there." There was no sense in arguing with Earl now. The whole thing had made a turn towards the ridiculous. "It's over 60 miles to the Coushatta, Earl," pleaded Jessie. "That's a full day's ride." "I know, Jessie," said Earl with resolve. "We need to get going." Jessie led the way as the two cowboys made the ride to the Coushatta. Earl clutched his gut the whole way and mumbled unintelligibly to Tago. They arrived at the reservation at dusk and set up camp just outside of its boundaries before sending word for the medicine man. A half hour later, the medicine man arrived at the campsite in a glistening Eldorado Baritz. He exited the vehicle and went into the trunk of the Eldorado for his medicine bag and fetishes. The medicine man didn't say a word as he approached Earl. He put his hand on Earl's stomach and stepped away and thought for a moment. He reached into his medicine pouch and pulled out a brownish root. He handed it to Earl and told him, "Chew on this. It'll make you right." Earl took the root from the medicine man and studied it. He asked, "What is it?" "It's chicory root." Earl looked over at Jessie and sighed. "Chicory root." Jessie let out a noticeable laugh, then quickly stifled it. Earl chewed on the root as instructed and could tell right away that it was going to work. He asked the medicine man, "I'm starting to feel better already. What do I owe you?" The medicine man went into the truck of the Eldorado and secured his supplies. After closing the trunk, he turned to Earl and said, "It's bad medicine to accept pay from a sick man. The bad spirit will lead you in the wrong direction. You'll think of something after you're healed." The medicine man got into his Eldorado and spun off into the reservation and out of sight. It took a couple of days for Earl to heal, and after much consideration, he went online in the bunkhouse and ordered the medicine man a case of Oklahoma wine and a box of Omaha steaks. He had the steaks gift-wrapped and enclosed a personal note of his gratitude. Both packages were FedExed overnight. The end.
And raring to go. Old Bill Jones had a daughter and a son. One went to Denver and the other went wrong. His wife, she died in a pool